You out there, we are greeting you Cameroon, we are greeting you West and Central Africa, we are greeting you Africa, we are greeting you world. So welcome to this very special edition of Unique, and today we are bringing in a youth with that force in him. Do I say force of experience? We are grateful that he has answered our call and he's here today. I am Awo Caleb at the anchor, and we get to meet our guest today. So welcome on board the program.
Thanks very much for having me.
And maybe get to know your name.
I am called Very Leslie Michael. Ace, just a short form. That's how my friends and family call me.
And Ace, what's that?
I think at one point in my life I realized that I was kind of lost. So I decided to embark on a journey to know more and get more meaning and responsibility in my life. So in that pursuit, I decided that A would stand for whatever I discovered that I wasn't applying in my life. And that was a command for me to apply. That's the meaning of A. C, which stands for change, is anything I discover in that venture that was wrong and that I've discovered is right, I change from the wrong one to the right one. And E stands for exchange. So I meet people that I think are in the same pit hole that I was in, or people that are not even already cognizant of what is going on in that particular area, and I exchange that with them.
From what you say, it's like you live a life of principles, this and that, and maybe get to know more about you. Are you married, graduate? What are you really into?
I am not yet married, and I'm not searching for now. So regarding what I do for a living, I think I notice things for a living and I try to express and exchange them with whosoever cares to listen. As of now, I am a writer, and I write in a blog called The Untold, where I look at society and I look at those things that are untold, that many people think are non-existent. But what I'm simply trying to tell them is these things are simply non-observed and they are existent. So when I go into the topic of love, I believe experts have touched these topics. When I go to the topic of politics sometimes, which I hardly do, I see areas that many wise men haven't touched, or what they have left untouched, either intentionally or not. And I try to meet experts, interview them, or read whatsoever I can lay my hands on and express it with the public that is interested in reading such things.
Academic
Sometimes,
profile.
okay. Regarding my academic profile, I am an archivist by profession from the Advanced School of Mass Communication, meaning I studied communication broadly. So I'm a communicator, if I may put it that way.
And how do young girls look at you? Are they admiring you? Do they love you? What was it really like? Because I know as a young man, it's not always that very easy. So how do you manage your ages and all of that?
My life has been a series of contradictions. In the early phase of my life, when I was interested in ladies, none of them was interested in me. So I was a failure in that particular regard. And those I met for mentorship or advice were really the great ones, who were loved not because of what they did to attract the women, but because of who they were. So when I went to them, the advice they gave me could not apply to me because I needed to make them love me. So I closed that chapter of my life early on. Right now, when I'm no longer interested, I find myself sometimes attracting some people, but I'm simply really not interested for now.
How do you think is that unique thing that makes them come closer to you now?
I discovered it lately, and that unique thing is just listening. I think the advice I brought out was distance makes the heart, you see, more interested in the other person, but never be distant when you're with your partner. But I didn't take this advice as an advice for people in relationships. When I'm with someone, I decide to be with that person at that time. That is why right now my phone is on airplane mode, flight mode. I don't want anybody to interact because I am with you. And I believe this time is to be with you. I'm not a fan of multitasking. So when I'm with these ladies, I get to be with them. I listen to their problems, and sometimes I propose solutions. So they get to this phase where no one has ever listened to them, and they start opening these phases and chapters of their lives, and they forget I'm just a guy who is an acquaintance, someone just they met randomly, and then they open their lives to me, and that is how at one point they start falling for me. Meanwhile, I'm not interested. I just wanted them to voice out whatever it is.
You are into writing for how long? have you been writing? And do you think what you've been writing, your document or your blog, as you say, control blog, do you think you've been creating impact with your write-ups?
I I have been writing for quite some time now. I think it's probably a year and a half since I started writing. And my writing style is very different from others. I don't go for the clicks. I don't go for this fancy scam of these three tricks that will make you attract every woman. I believe those things are scams. So what I do is I attack a single problem. Like the last article I wrote was about relationships. It was an investigation that I carried out, and it started in a church. A woman in church that was unable to find a partner, and I took it out and I started analyzing China and Argentina to tell her that the problem she is facing are cultural problems that you can find even at a national level. And this article was the most read.
Okay.
Now, I don't know the kind of impact it creates, because some people might read something and they take in another course of action, and others read the same thing. It's like the half full, half empty glass. Some people will see the glass and they will say the glass is half full. Others see the same glass and they say it's half empty. So I just believe that one or two people generally are touched by what I write, and I write for those two people. And whenever they come back to me and they tell me, oh, I didn't know this, you really taught me something, like the fact that I have a multiplicity of girlfriends and I think I'm a monogamist is wrong. I'm simply having one of them at a time. So I'm kind of a polygamist. When I get those feedbacks, I'm like, at least I said something to
Now,
someone.
you've been writing, and the last article you wrote, or the one you just talked about relationships, it's like it's really generated maybe some debate or what. But which is the article you've ever written that really tells you, come on guy, I have done it? Maybe you felt at that moment like Lisa that fell from the wall or from the rooftop and like hit his head and made it. So is there an article you really ever wrote and you like thought I have done it?
Yes. My very first article,
Which was on
the northern region of Cameroon, and nobody gets to go to. Okay. So in this article, I try to explore this ongoing phenomena, which is, why do people believe that the areas that are crowded by most people, the capital cities of every nation, are the best places to go to, and that these are the places where opportunities get to, that you have more opportunities and you can build your life and success. So what I was trying to do was compare people who came to Yaoundé, had a job, were able to have good sums of money, but at the end of their lives, many of them didn't accomplish anything. They were even unable to build houses. And then I compared them with people in Marwa, young guys of my age, 20, 21, who at these relatively young ages were able to build houses, start businesses, and do a lot of things. So what I was trying to get out in this article was the fact that if you are in Marwa, you have more chances of building a life and starting and having more impact, because in Marwa you have no friend. People in Marwa don't eat meat, pork, because they are Muslims. A high majority of them are Muslims. People in Marwa don't go to nightclubs. These are Muslims, they hardly have nightclubs. People in Marwa don't get to spend a lot of money, because those with whom you can spend the money are not even available. They are either praying, fasting, or doing some regime against this kind of stuff. So once you have your money, you are being forced by the culture to invest in something right.
So that first article was mainly about encouraging somebody to, dare go to live in Marwa,
Yeah.
a place people have been running away from. You went, lived there, I think, by the first part of last year,
Yes.
and you really enjoyed living there. Now let's calm down. We are youths, and this is the Youth Week, okay? So what are some of the challenges you have seen as a writer that youths in Cameroon are facing? Are there some of the challenges you have noticed or you've identified?
Yeah, I think there are three major challenges I've noticed that youths in Cameroon face.
Okay.
Two or three. I'll just take them off the back of my head. So the first one is, there is a conundrum. Youths are facing a problem that our parents did not, which is this. There are things that youths are good at on the one hand, and there are things that youths are interested in on the secondly.
Yeah.
So sometimes the things you're good at are those things that they tell you to go and pursue as a career. Meanwhile, you're not passionate about those things. I, on the other hand, look at it like, if you go for the things you're good at, this dry notion of I'm good at in history, tomorrow, because you were simply good at in history and you are not interested in history, you'll get to a level where you plateau, and people who are interested in the history will outsmart you. So now, I think that's the first bad advice that people have been given. Pursue what you are good at, not what you're interested in. That is one area that youths really face as a problem. The next thing is, our system has two problems. We have the systemic problem and we have the individual problem. Now, you'll get experts that come on television and they explain the whole systemic problem. Nepotism, bad roads, lack of hospitals. You can't work in this company if you are not related to this person. Nepotism, as I said. And that is really a problem for our culture. And I'm not really good or versed in that particular area because I think we can sing those problems as long as we want. Now, there is a second type of problem that youths face, which is not being hinted. And that problem is the individual problem, which is youths don't even make up their beds in the morning, but they are very good at taking these systemic problems and saying these are the causes of their problems. So for me, it's like, make up your bed before you criticize the world. So if your bed is not made up, it's not the system that caused it. You are the problem. So there are areas where the system itself has a problem and needs to be solved, and the government has to solve them.
Now calm down.
Now there are areas.
There's a lot of science in what you're saying.
Now there are okay. Let's say this is Caleb.
Yeah.
And Caleb teaches in a primary school. You see, Caleb earns just 50,000, and I am in the same primary school and I earn 250,000. Would the solution for Caleb be for him to take a placard right there, increase my salary, and walk throughout the school saying, increase my salary, increase my salary, increase my salary? No. And that is why youths do on social media. They go and then they voice their problems out, as if that was going to change the whole thing. But the other way to see it is, if I am the problem, and this is probably an individual problem, why don't I ask what Leslie or Ace did to get to the position where he is? And after asking that question, I decide I am going to follow the same course. And the same course is personal development. I will need to develop myself to a level where I become valuable for the school. And once the school sees my value, where I am able to equally teach class 6, no longer nursery school, now they can increase my salary. But how did I do to get there? I decided that I was the problem, not the system. But there are moments where the system will block you, even once you grow. But grow first. And even if the system blocks you, there are many other avenues. So that's the second problem that youths face.
Now, we have the systemic and individual problems.
Yeah.
Now, I wish that you should really come out concrete. Okay, let's be practical. That youths, maybe they face the unemployment problem, they face this, they face that. Are there some? I wish we should really be a little bit, real. Let's talk about things that are real.
I think I'm real. It's very difficult to be very to be specific on certain issues. Let me give an example. If you're a teller today, and you think that the systemic problem is going to change most
when
of
you
what
talk
you
about systemic problem, what do you say?
I'm talking about the whole government, the governance in place. Where we witnessed the elections that were happening in our country just some months back, and everybody was like, if we get this new president, things will change for us. But I'm for the fact that, to an extent, the president is not the solution to your problems. You see, if you don't develop yourself, the president will never be the solution to your problems. If you're a nursery school teacher and you decide that you'll be a nursery school teacher for the rest of your life, whether we want it, we put the highest, kind, benign, loving president in place, he will not be able to increase your salary from where you are to where you want to be. You see, if you are a teller, you need to start thinking of new ways, new forms of getting more markets. There are 3 ways of making your life better if you're a businessman. First, the product you're selling, you try as much as possible to touch more people. Secondly, you see if that same product you're selling can be used in many other ways. Let's say this is a primary school, or this is a secondary school, or a school in general. It is used for teaching from Monday to Friday. How can this school, and this school has just 100 people in attendance, can I set a goal which is for me to get 200 people the upcoming year? Yes, you can. And you need to engage in marketing. The second way to grow your business will be for you to say, how can I use this school much more than what it is right now? Can this school change Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays to become halls where people celebrate their marriages, where people come and rent for conferences, where people come and rent for events? That is another way in which you do it. And now, the number of times in which these two things happen, can I increase them? If school ends in August or in June, can I create something educational that people will have to do during these 3 months of holiday that will make my school functional? So the first thing is, as I've said, let this thing have more what you're selling. Let that service be able to be maybe used for many other issues. Secondly, let the people consuming it consume more, you see, and let the time it's being used be multiplied.
Now you are already going into talking about some of the solutions to the plight of the youth in Cameroon. Now I just wish that you come out, maybe enlighten us on some of them. You are a writer, and I think maybe that's your niche, you craft, and you are like exploiting it. So what do you think are some of those steps, measures to be put in place to curb this youth unemployment, these problems we are naming every day, naming and shaming, but we keep seeing them, they are increasing. And even tonight, many youths will be looking keenly to their screens to hear the head of state in his traditional, youth day speech, which he will be delivering to the youth of Cameroon. And many eyes will be on the TV set to hear if there are some promises that will be made again as they have always been made. And so, let me say, if today you become the head of state, Paul Biya, the Minister of Youth Affairs, and you are asked, maybe you've noticed, and you know the problems youths are facing in Cameroon. Now, everything is made available. Go out there and solve their problems. What do you think you're going to put your finger on first?
I think I'll work more on online. How will I call it? There is a wave that is called this new wave. It's a new revolution.
Digital economy.
Digital economy. Social media, if I may put it in words that people will understand. I think I get so aghast when I listen to these old dudes, baby boomers. You see the old journalists on CRTV, on Equinox, that hold a negative point of view on social media.
Are you like saying that social media is not playing a negative role?
I am not. Social media is playing no negative role, and I know, and I've measured my words on this. This is what I mean. When you study communication, they tell you there is someone, a sender of that information, the meter. There is a canal through which the information passes,
The channel, yeah.
the channel, and now there is a receiver. And once that receiver gets the information, generally he sends a feedback. It was good, it was bad. In the olden days, when things were supposed to be communicated, they used drums. Later on, they started using cell phones as the whole movement went across. But we live in an era where the cell phone has evolved. This is a revolution. You see, in the olden days, for example, it took the radio 37 years to get 1 million listeners. It took the TV 17 years. I read the stats and I was baffled to get the same number of people to be watching the television. But this time, with just Instagram, it took Instagram 1 year to get more than 50 million people to be using it. So you see that this is a revolution that beats all other revolutions.
So how do you think the use of social media will solve some?
Now this is what I'm getting to. Social media is not bad, in the sense that if you get a boy writing a love letter to a girl in the primary school, you don't attack the love letter and you say the love letter is bad. you attack the person who sent the love letter and said, hey, don't spoil the other girl. Social media is just a tool. It's a canal by which information is being passed across. You don't come and then you say social media is
Now
bad.
tell us how
When
we
you
are
say
going to
those-
use social media to solve our problems.
I don't think you tell people how to use social media. I think you make people become more conscious. You make people become become moral. You see, it is a failure on our part to groom children on what to say, on how to behave in society. They have simply taken this thing and it's a means for them to express or show the world who they really were. Social media does not make people bad. It simply exposes who they were. So I always think that there should be this